What is up, world? Welcome to episode 5 of the Showcase Podcast. My name's Andrew Karapi, the host of the show. Today I'm going to be talking about The Game, my experience working with the rapper The Game. So I worked with The Game back in 2016. This was my last show before I started the Showcase tour. My experience working with The Game was not good at all. So I'm going to get right into this. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Andrew Karapi, AndrewCorapi. So back in 2016, like I said, I booked The Game at a 2,500 capacity venue. Now, did I think it was going to sell out? I hoped it would, because it was The Game's first time back in Providence in 11 years. So you'd think, oh, The Game, I'd think that he had a good amount of fans near Providence, Rhode Island, that could fill up the venue. Now, the show didn't sell that bad. That wasn't the bad part. So let me just get right into the bad part. Everything, the promotion of the show was great. The day of the show, things were kind of okay. But day of the show, at the time, The Game was beefing with Meek Mill. And The Game had a show in Philly the day before I booked him for his show in Providence, Rhode Island. So he had to travel on his tour bus from Philly to Providence, which is no problem. You just get in the bus, you drive to the next show, and you do the show. But The Game wanted to do it his way. He decided he needed to shoot a music video to his Meek Mill diss song while he was in Philly, because it would be way more of a violation if he did that. So that's what he did. And because he did that and took his time shooting that stupid music video, he showed up after curfew for the show I booked him for. The Game needed a full band. He needed all of these instruments, and this dude didn't come to sound check for a full band. He shows up not at his set time, not at curfew, not before curfew, after curfew. After the venue basically closes, he shows up. So the whole time I'm trying to text and contact his manager, Whack, because he was my connection, other than Andrew Lieber of Major Artist Concerts, who completely failed me and set me up with booking an artist that wasn't going to show up on time. So you shouldn't have people on your booking roster that you can't even get to show up to a show. So, the main connection I had was Whack, and I was trying to text Whack nonstop, trying to call him nonstop. When I say nonstop, I don't literally mean nonstop, every 30 minutes or so, not literally nonstop, because I'm not the type of person to do that. And I know Whack is on the other side, and I know Whack would get fucking pissed if I was hitting him up nonstop. So, I'm trying to hit him up as much as possible, and he finally texts me back, and one of his texts said, "We'll get there when we get there." And at that moment, I realized that the music industry is not what it seems. These people don't give a fuck. They are cold-hearted people. And that's when I first realized it. This was in 2016. These people are cold-hearted. So he says, "We'll get there when we get there." Meanwhile, he was supposed to already perform. The whole crowd is getting anxious and not very happy that he hasn't come and performed. We're trying to keep the crowd updated. And basically, he shows up after curfew with his tour bus, parks outside, and he's walking, and all his crew is walking to the venue, and they're going to the back door. Meanwhile, fans of The Game, supposedly, are outside the venue because they left. Because it was after curfew, and The Game didn't show up. So they left. So now Whack is literally, I remember he was on the phone with me. They were walking to the back door. I'm like, yeah, you just go down this alley, like the only fucking alley next to the venue. You go down it, and there's the back door. And he was saying to me, "Why are these people outside the venue? Why the fuck are all these people outside the venue? We're trying to get in the venue. Why are these people outside?" And I'm like, because you showed up after curfew. And there's not much else to say. So basically they get in the back door, all these grown-ass men, massive people. I am 20 years old. No, I am 22 years old at the time. So I'm like, all right, let me get this guy his money and try to get them on stage, and hopefully things go okay. Well, guess what? The police chief and fire chief, they let us go past curfew another, I believe, like 25, 30 minutes, and they cut the music off on the game. So basically, the game only ended up performing for about 25 minutes. But let me ask you something, the game. Why should I pay you a full $30,000 when you only did half your set? I shouldn't. You were more worried about a beef with Meek Mill and shooting a music video to that beef song in Philly than making it to your next show in Providence on time? That's absolutely ridiculous. I paid this dude $30,000 for a 1-hour set with a full band. And he comes, misses sound check, misses basically the whole fucking event. He shows up after curfew. Okay, and the only reason the police chief and fire chief let us keep going longer was because they knew who the game's fans were. They didn't want any problems. They didn't need riots in the fucking streets. And that's what would have happened if we didn't extend and at least get him on stage. So shout out to the police chief for even doing that in the first place. But the game, I'm pretty sure you owe me $15,000 if I book you for an hour and you perform half your set. And you're lucky you even performed half your set and made it to the show. You owe me $15,000, and it's been like this for 4 years now. You know, I've learned a lot from that show, and that was actually my last show before I started the Showcase Tour. So basically, my whole mentality at the time was, I'm going to do a big show with the game, and either it's going to be successful and I'm going to keep doing big shows, or I'm going to start doing smaller shows all over the place. And clearly the fucking big show with the game failed. Mind you, the sales were fine. Like, I wasn't going to lose any money, nothing like that on this show. But once he didn't show up before curfew to perform, I now lost $15,000 on this show. So the game owes me $15,000. I learned so much from this show. Like I said, I started the Showcase Tour right after this show because I realized I didn't want to work with major artists anymore because they don't care. They're cold-hearted. People high up in this industry like Wack, he's part of Cash Money. Why is Wack? He's Blueface's manager. Look how Blueface is doing. Okay? I knew Blueface was going to flop from the beginning because Wack was his manager. And I know how Wack is. These people are cold-hearted. I learned a lot from that. So basically, another thing that the booking agent made me and almost forced me and finessed me into doing was paying for an extra 2 Sprinter vans with tinted windows for the game because he was fearful, like, of getting attacked because of the beef he was in with Meek Mill. So he's okay with showing up to his $30,000 show and almost missing it, but and missing it because he's shooting a music video to a beef song he made to Meek Mill. But he's not okay not having these extra safety precautions and these extra Sprinter vans. Guess what, game? Maybe you shouldn't fucking be going after Meek Mill because your album dropped and you're just trying to get promotion. Then you wouldn't need Sprinter vans. Then you wouldn't be shooting music videos to beef songs and almost missing $30,000 shows. That's what fucking happens when your mind is elsewhere. So, I don't know, guys. The game literally owes me $15,000. But as we know, the game does not pay when he gets sued. He was sued by this lady, Priscilla Rainey, who I've already done a video about this, for $7 million. The game already owes this lady $7 million. What makes you think I'm going to get $15,000? Exactly. That's why I'm not suing him. But the game, Wack, you guys are in the past. So it's time to move on. But anyways, this has been episode 5 of the Showcase Podcast. My name's Andrew Corapi, the host of the show. You can follow me on Instagram at Andrew Corapi, AndrewCorapi. That's been it. Peace out.